Freya from Crafty Sew&So, and today I'm bringing you a nice tutorial to make this Easter basket for Easter egg hunts and things with these fantastic floppy ears for children to enjoy playing with as Easter approaches, and of course to fill up with yummy treats. You can use it when you're playing Easter egg hunts around the house or in the garden, or you could just fill it up as a gift basket to present the Easter eggs that you've bought for them. Either way, they're going to be really loved by any small children in your house. My daughter absolutely loves this one, and she's really excited for me to finish using it as an example so she can play with it again. So how to make an Easter basket like this. The written instructions and the pattern are available to buy and download from our website at craftysew&so.com. They are £4 for the pattern, and that's a print at home PDF. You also get a larger scale print pattern if you wanted to send it off to a print shop to get done, but you can just print it off at home and get on with it as soon as you buy it if you wish to. Now, we're going to start by making the handle at the top, and then we're going to work on the ears, and then we're going to construct the main body of the bag once those accessory bits have been put together. So once you've cut out your paper pattern and cut out all your individual pieces from your fabrics, we can begin. Right, so starting with the strap handle, I have already fused a piece of cotton weight interfacing to the inside, and then I've pressed it in half, so it looks like this. It was like this, and I've pressed it in half. I'm going to sew a seam of 1 centimetre down the open end and just one of the short ends as well, and that's just to turn it through. So I'm just going to sew that now, and then I'll show you my favourite way of turning through a shortish strap like this one. So I've sewn along one short edge and the open long edge, and I'm going to trim my seam allowances down to 5mm, or about half of what they were, and that's just to reduce bulk. And then once I've done that, and I've got my trusty pen, which is my technique for turning it out. So you're going to take the blunt end of a pen and the sewn short edge of your strap, and we're going to open it out this way and push that end into itself, and then put that on the pen. And then I'm just going to move this out of the way. Ease the fabric into itself. And once you've got started, it's really easy to kind of turn it out like so. Once the end comes out the top, you can pull it off the pen, and oh, voila! Nice, easy strap turning. Now, of course, you've got one end that's closed, and we don't need it to be closed for this. So I've added a bit of extra length to the pattern piece, so you can actually just trim that off. And then you've got 2 open ends, like so. Now I'm just going to take that to the iron and press the centre seam, down the centre, so it'll look like this, and then that's ready to be put aside to attach to the main bag later. So I'm just going to run to the iron and press that flat now. The next thing to do is create your ears. So we're going to take a patterned earpiece and a plain earpiece, and put them right sides together, and we're just going to sew around there, all the way around, leaving the bottom bit open here. Trim again the seam allowances down to 5mm, and then we're going to notch around the top of the curve so that eases it out in a minute. So I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, so once we've trimmed down the seam allowance, we're going to do tiny V notches from about the top 2 inches of the ear, about 1 centimetre apart. and that will just really help it lay flat when we turn it out in a moment. So. Okay, so you should be able to see all the notches that go around there, and yeah, so once you've done those, you can turn it out in a similar way you did the strap, by pushing the tip of the ear in on a pen and then just turning it out. I'm going to use the pen again just to push out all the seams, and then take that to the ironing board to press and finish. And once it's been pressed nicely, we're going to top stitch close to the edge to give that a really smart finish. So to the ironing board, and then we'll top stitch it. And once you've got your ear top stitched, we're going to just create a little pleat in the bottom to kind of give it a cute little floppy finish. So I'm folding it in 1/3 and then the other third on top like that, and then that creates kind of a very cute floppy ear look. I'm just going to do a quick top stitch across there to hold that in place for when I'm assembling the rest of the bag. So now I have 2 ears, 1 strap. Need to make the body of the bag. So I have chosen to use Bosal fusible foam interfacing for this, which is a real body to it, and it creates very kind of structured bag. You could also use like quilt wadding, as long as it's a low loft. We really like to use the 80/20 cotton polyester quilt wadding for other projects, but that would give a softer, floppier bag, and I haven't used this wadding before, this fusible interfacing before, so I thought I'd give it a try. It's been fairly easy to work with, so if you're new to it and haven't used it for yourself, I would say go for it, have a try, because it's a nice material to work with. My tip was definitely to make sure you've got a brand new needle in your machine though, because it's quite a thick wadding, it does need that sharpness. But yeah, go for it, it's quite fun. So I've already I have already fused my pink, which is my outer fabric, to my fusible foam, and I've done that by spritzing the foam layer with the glue side on with a bit of water, laying over the pink, and then ironing over it with a medium heat, and that's fused those two together. So that's going to kind of work as one piece of material now. And then the next thing to do is so I've done the same on both sides, I'm just going to move the sewing machine, take that, the fused side, and layer on top the lining material. So I'm putting it right sides, that's printed sides, together, so the printed side lays down flat on top of the pink side, so like so. I'm going to do a 1 centimetre seam allowance all the way along here. I'm going to pin it, of course. I don't often pin things, but it really does help. And I'm just going to do a 1 centimetre seam allowance on there, and then I'll show you how to fold it over. Once we've got our layers all pinned together, now is the time to attach and put in our ears as well. So we're going to take the ears and we're going to put them, make sure that they are printed side down, and we're going to sandwich them between the layers of the outer fabric and the lining fabric. So we're just going to line them up with the seam allowances at the top matching, and put in a pin there. Ooh, that's a very blunt pin. Try that one. That's better. And I'm going to do it about 3 finger widths apart, so that's probably, let's have a look, I've got about 6 centimetres separate apart, and that's centred around the centre point of the bag. And now we can sew our top seam with a 1 centimetre seam allowance, and then trim it down. So now, due to the bulk, we are going to trim that seam allowance down again. We're going to do it really small, a couple of millimetres without going through the line of stitching. And then we're going to take it to the iron and fold over the lining to the other side. So on the iron, what I'll do is I'll really carefully ease it over so that the lining doesn't peer up over the top of the outside fabric. And if you've got wonder clips, now is a fantastic time to use them. You can use pins, but I actually find just going slowly and when we're top stitching, which is the next step, and holding it in place is best if you've not got wonder clips. I will be right back. Okay, so now I'm going to top stitch down the top, down the lining. I'm going to keep the ears out of the way, so it's going to go underneath the ears, and then that is the bag outside's done. And of course you want to make 2 of those, one with ears and one without, ready to assemble. So once we've got our bag linings attached and all top stitched and looking beautiful, we're going to take, here's one I did earlier, both outside bags and layer them together and stitch them into one piece. So if we open it up, so you've got your lining and your outside fabric flat like this, I'm going to lay that on the table. It doesn't necessarily matter where your ears go at this point, but as long as they're not in the way and you don't want to get them caught up in the stitching that you're going to do in a minute. So just keep them tucked out the way. We're going to take the second panel piece that you've made, open it up as well, and we're going to layer them together, so linings together and outside bits together. Now, to get them to line up really nicely, we're going to use the top stitching and the top of the bag at the side and just make sure that they line up and are in the same spot. And to keep them from moving around while we're stitching, we're going to put a pin through the lines of stitching, lines of top stitching. That pin bent, let's try this one, to hold them in place on both sides. You want those to line up very beautifully, so when you turn the bag out, it's all where it's supposed to be. Then I would also put a pin at each of the corner spots and at the centre. Make sure those ears are out the way. So here on the other sides, and then in the middle on this here on both sides. And then we're going to sew all the long straight edges, leaving all of the corner chunks open for now. Okay, so there you have it. You've got your bag all inside out, and we're going to create those boxed out corners before we can turn it the right way out. So I'm just going to trim some threads because there's lots going on here. Not trim them very much as we've gone. So to create the boxed out corners, we're going to start with the outside ones, that's the sides of the foam, and we're going to open up like this. You see what I did there? So then we've got these corners that open up, and we're going to try and match these seams, but I'm not going to stress too much about it because with foam it's going to be a bit more challenging. So if you really want to be accurate and precise, that's the tip, to line up those 2 seams, and you can do that with a pin or a peg. But if you just want to, if you're doing it for the first time, you just want to kind of get to grips with it, don't worry too much if it doesn't line up. No one's going to be looking at the bottom of your bag. So I'll put a pin through, and it needs to go this way. My philosophy is always about enjoying the sewing and making something nice and not perfection, because I don't want to have to fight for perfection. And we're going to repeat on the other side. You can see already that's boxed out quite nicely. I need to remember to do it right to left. And then we're going to do the same with just one of our linings. So I'm going to doesn't matter which one at all, as long as you choose just one and leave the other one open for the time being. There we go. Okay, and then we're just going to use a 1 centimetre seam allowance and close up those 3 seams, just 3. Remember that. So once we've got those 3 corners boxed out, we're going to what we like to call birth the bag, which means turn it the right way out using just this small hole. So sleeves up, ladies. We're going to put our hand through the hole and grab the opposite corner. So it's gone in here, and we're going to grab that corner and we're going to pull it through, and we're going to pull on the fabric not directly around the hole, because we don't want to put a lot of stress on the seams that are there, though you should have backstitched them, but just the fabric generally further away and pulling it out of that hole. So we'll just keep easing, gently tugging, and we're almost there. There we go. So then we've just got to restructure, reshape the bag, push out that foam, push out those corners. There we go, push out those corners. Lovely. There we go. And push in our lining. And there is your ear basket. Now, of course, we've still got that final corner to close. So we're going to pull it back out once the bag's properly structured. We're going to fold the raw edge in 1 centimetre on both sides. Match up the seams and put the fabric in on either side. Just put a pin in to hold it in place, and then we're going to top stitch that edge, that whole closed, close to the edge. If you are someone who likes things to look absolutely perfectly tidy, feel free to whip stitch closed by hand, but it's going on the inside, no one's ever going to see it. I am more than happy with a top stitch finish on from the machine. Okay, so again, we're just going to pop that back in, push it out into the corners, lovely lining. We've got a couple of raw spare threads here, we're just going to trim off, always the final job to do. Right, now, of course, there's something missing. This is where we go back for our handle that we made earlier. Now, I've folded over each of the raw short edges by about 2 centimetres. I'm going to be putting that on the side of my bags, covering up the raw the seams on either side. So you can see, it's just put a pin through there, and we're going to do the same on the other side. And just pushing, if the raw edges poke out, you just push them in and make sure that they stay there when you're sewing. Right, okay, so now we're just going to sew a square on either side, and that is our basket finished. To do this, you might find it really helpful to take off the free arm, so that's this bit of your machine. It means you can get your basket around here more easily, and you've got a smaller top section, so it's not getting in the way as much. Okay, so there's your finished bag with the handles. Sewing on the handles can be a bit tricky because at the seams there's quite a lot of bulk, so I'd recommend lengthening your stitch length, and that's exactly a really great point. If you haven't already changed your needle to a brand new one, that is a point in which it will really make the world a difference, so make sure you do then. So my daughter has requested that I do a little bunny face on the front there, which I'm going to do in some heat transfer vinyl, but you absolutely don't have to. They are very cute all by themselves, and now I've got two, which I'm really pleased with. So I'm looking forward to Easter egg hunts now. As I said at the beginning, the pattern is available to buy from our shop at craftysew&so.com, and you get the written instructions as well as this one online to follow. And if you do make any, we would love to see them. You can hashtag us at #craftysew&so and we'll find them on Instagram there, or you can add them to our Facebook community. So we have a Facebook group called The Crafty Sew&Sos, and we'd love it if you would join. And on there you can show all your projects, crafting, sewing, our projects, your own designs, anything you like. We just really love seeing what people are making, so please do join us on there. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have enjoyed this video, there will be more to come. I'm planning on filming an aprons video, a makeup bag video, some basic dressmaking skills videos, and there are already patterns and blog tutorials on our website at craftysew&so.com. So if you've enjoyed making this, you can check those out too. Thank you very much for watching, and do subscribe. Bye.